Hey guys, welcome to the Shack. This is episode 21. This is the one you've been waiting for. Cue the spooky music. Woo. Oh, look at that. We actually had some.
We were supposed to have spooky music?
Well, that's where our budget starts and stops.
We're just scary all on our own, right?
So, hey guys, welcome to the Halloween show. We've been talking about it, teasing about it for a few episodes that we were going to tell you some situations that may have happened. Now, disclaimer, if you get too scared, this is not like
You're a
Orson Welles War of the Worlds things. We're sorry. Now, also, I want to put this other disclaimer in there. Just because these are stories do not mean they are... Wait.
Factual?
They are true.
I think he means the other way around.
No, they're true.
Okay.
They're true to the person that experienced it. How's that?
It sounds very
It's a
lawyery.
perception. Well, it's a perception thing.
I reject your reality and choose to substitute my own.
I just don't want to meet someone at a knife show in the future and they go, "Hey, LT, you're that crazy one, right?" Like that, because no, I'm not. I do have some stories, but yeah. So anyway, we wanted to bring you some Halloween-type stories. So a few, I don't know, alien, spooky, just weird things that happen kind of thing. And we all have, well, some of us have stories that we're going to tell.
Why are you looking at me?
And some of us
I have
have
a
absolutely
story.
nothing to
He
say.
was looking at me.
Why? What, you never
I
had
actually
any.
got nothing.
You never got scared.
I got nothing. I can start if you want. I'll tell you exactly what I told him.
Now,
The
wait.
best I can do.
Now wait, I know there's the ghost of vomit in your 110.
That wasn't a ghost. It was a child.
Oh, my goodness.
I said now. Now there's the ghost of vomit in your tent.
Anyway, so we have
Small
some.
child.
First, let's get the
Was his nephew.
admin stuff out of the way. You can find our podcast where, Mike?
Everywhere you can listen to podcasts.
Which is where, Mike?
I don't know why.
Everywhere.
I say that and not give him the time. And my name is LT. Thanks for tuning in.
Scooter Hairy Man on the inside.
It's Tyler.
Do people still use Stitcher?
Yes.
Okay, I'm Nick.
I'm still Mike.
I'm Sam, the one without a cool ghost story. Sorry.
Loser.
Well,
Woe
that's
is
cool.
me.
So I don't know if you guys know this or not, but Scott
Sam,
and I.
you would have a ghost story if you moved out of your parents' basement. I'm just saying.
Now that was harsher than anything I said yet.
You want some burn cream, buddy?
and that's your friend Mike. So
Thanks,
anyway,
buddy.
Oh wait, you have the ghost of all them cars following you.
The ghost of Cherokee Past.
the rusty FJ.
I'm a Land Rover Discovery.
I'm going to go ahead
Hey.
and sign off of this one. I'll see y'all later.
Hey, you know what though? Maybe that noise you're hearing in the FJ is really, just a supernatural.
We should really
clunk.
just take
It only
turns here.
happens once in a while.
Yeah, see, there you
full
go.
moon.
Japanese line worker.
And you
that got
happen
crushed
to
under the
never, and it doesn't happen when someone else is around.
Exactly.
Is it only on a full moon?
I don't pay that close of attention.
That was good. That's good night, folks.
That was good. But yeah, we got. I don't. Well,
What?
I know. I got to start over. Anyway, I don't. Being in the shop all day, we all wear earbuds, and Scott and I got in a habit a number of years ago of listening to the Conspiracy Show with Richard Serra, and I love it. It's a
good one.
great show. And then just it's like
Coast
like
to
a
coast
car wreck.
AM.
You can't look away. Once you listen to one, you just kind of get listening to them. So him and I share them, and we listen to them. We share them with our friends, and some of our friends don't even listen to them when we
They
share
don't.
them.
That would be me.
Right. But anyway, he's got a great show. But some of the stuff he comes up with is really cool. Aliens, ghost stories, whatever.
Oh yeah, lots of good
So
stuff.
one day we were just sitting around like, just talking about experiences we had, and I had a couple that I had never told these guys. I didn't, not any reason. It's just that never came up, and they're like, "Oh, we ought to do a little show on it." So we decided today that we're going to do that. So each one of us have a story that we're going to bring to you today.
Except for the one.
We
Go
just
ahead and say it.
went. We just went over your stories.
everybody
All
but
right.
So-
We all know you're haunted.
So
it's
whether,
fine.
whether it be alien, a haunting, something just weird happened, unexplainable, we have a few stories. So we're going to talk to you about that today. I expect this to be our highest listened to program.
Probably.
Yeah. Because all the hashtags you can do to it, Mike.
hashtag spooky.
Yes.
Hashtag on. Right on. Hey, okay, who wants to start? Oh, wow, look at the hands that didn't go up.
I'm glad everybody looked my way.
Well, there's no visual aspect to this, so.
All right, Nick, why don't you start?
Sure.
All right, so is it spooky,
I don't know.
alien-esque,
Well-
unexplained?
It sort of started when I was born, because I was born on Halloween. So, for me,
Yeah.
that kind of was awesome and has always been, because not only did I get trick-or-treating candy, but I got presents too.
You sure you didn't get shortchanged because the holidays?
No, man, I'm telling you, Halloween's the best to be born on. You get the bonus sugar candy on top of the bonus sugar cake. It's great. It's great.
Oh, I didn't think candy and
Oh,
cake.
yeah.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
Oh, yeah,
I
I'm
don't
telling
hate it.
you. That's why I'm the shape I'm in. Round. So I've always had a fascination with ghost stories, folklore, alien stuff, all the weird stuff that LT's talking about. I love the X-Files and almost every other sci-fi show out there. I've been to UFO conferences. I've been to haunted houses. Taking the ghost tours just about
that's
everywhere
right.
in the
You have
country.
been to a UFO conference. I
did. I went to
remember.
MUFON. Yep.
That wasn't
yep.
that long ago.
A couple of years ago now.
We accidentally went to a Sasquatch convention.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I was at that too. Yep. That was a
I mean,
little.
during one of the.
That was a little
Yeah.
more alcohol than at MUFON for sure. But anyway, yeah. So good stuff all around. As far as personal experiences, so when my family first moved to Ohio, we lived on a tree farm. Great big huge tree farm, hundreds of acres. I don't remember exactly how big. And there were 3 houses. 2 were rental properties and 1 was the property owner. And the little house that we lived in was originally built and lived in by a lady named Myrtle. Yeah, I know.
Good
This
ghost
is a
name.
story. I'm aware. I'm trying to go as quick as I can so everyone gets their chance. But Myrtle, was this crazy lady, and the owners of the property told us all about her. She never had any kids. She lived this really wild and crazy life. I guess she was involved in World War II somehow. She was a wing walker on a biplane. She was the daredevil of her era, I guess. So that was kind of cool. But they stressed repeatedly that she never liked children, and I was still little when we moved into this house. And for the first year-ish, it was fine, no big deal. But after that, it started with these weird, creepy things. It was constantly feeling like somebody was behind you. And my story is that one night, I couldn't sleep, and that was a reoccurring thing in that house for me. I got up, I went out in the kitchen, and there was this one window, and I looked up into the window to look outside, and there was a silhouette behind me. And there was nobody behind me. I spun around, I thought it was my mom, and there was nobody there. So that freaked me out pretty good. There was nothing else even shaped like a person behind me, so I don't know. Take it for what it's worth. But, yeah. And then the ghost tour at Gettysburg was always fun. But that was, more touristy than real spooky. But, yeah. So that's my story.
Interesting. Halloween baby. I forgot he was a Halloween baby. Yeah.
You know what that means?
Huh.
We get cake soon.
Nope.
I know.
Nope.
Actually, Rocket's birthday is tomorrow. Just saying.
We already discussed that.
That's right. We're not
getting pie
cake.
instead.
Are we getting pie?
Or fruit, one or the other.
Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, it wasn't a cake decision.
We're getting some sort of birthday celebration treat.
Maybe Sam and I will go for cake later.
There you go.
Maybe. All right, Mikey, you're up.
Okay. This happened when I was in college, and I was living on Mount Washington at the time, which is an older part of Pittsburgh, and a lot of older homes up there. And I had 2 other roommates. There were 2 bedrooms in the house, and a roommate and I shared a room, and then our other roommate had his own room. And the roommate that I shared a room with and I were downstairs in the living room, which was in the front of the house, and you basically walked in the front door, and your choices were to go straight up the stairs or into the living room. And he and I were talking about a bill or something like that, and we heard and saw the door open, and we swear we saw our roommate go upstairs. And so we went upstairs to his room to ask him about this bill that we were talking about, We go into his room, and it is freezing cold, and no one's there.
Ghost.
And we are convinced to this day that a ghost came into our house and went upstairs.
Now wait, you were going upstairs to talk to him about what?
A bill.
Like money bill?
Yeah.
And he went out the window.
Well,
He was ghosting you to get away from you.
we actually followed up with him when he came home later that night, and we're like, "Hey, did you come to the house at all?" Nope, he hadn't been there since he left early that morning.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that is creepy. Especially, you know, when you have someone that sees something with you, and like corroborates it, it's like, okay. Yeah.
Like, I mean, we saw a body going
Right.
up the stairs, like legs fully, like there wasn't like it was an apparition. We saw a person go up the stairs.
Yeah, that is creepy. It does make you a little freaky.
And it's
Agreed.
odd that, like, because we went into his room, and his room was freezing cold. None of the rest of the rooms in the house were. Why did they pick his room?
I've watched enough ghost stories to know, Mike, it was a ghost. It's all we
Your
watch at home
dad.
is ghost stories. We
Your
should have had
dad.
him call in.
Oh my
we should have
gosh,
your
yeah.
dad come. Right. That's cool. No, that's a good one. I like it. And that's a Pittsburgh one. Pittsburgh story.
Pittsburgh and that.
All right. Ty, you're up.
All right, well, I got one that I just remembered, so I'll go ahead and tell it. Me and my buddy were, this doesn't involve like a ghost or anything. We found an area that didn't exist.
Whoa.
Do tell.
A time slip.
I
A
don't
time
know,
warp.
but we
Dimension.
was walking through the woods and just kind of exploring. You know, I was probably 14, 15. We was just running around, and we ended up getting lost out in the woods, and we find this big pine grove with like waterfalls and hills and everything else. And we look over the hill, and there's an old cabin. No roads leading to it, nothing, but there was smoke coming out of the chimney stack. Well, we wanted to go down, but he chickened out, so we went home. And so we ended up getting lost, and we followed the creek up, and we ended up back at the ponds where we started at, and we could never find that place again. We spent like 3 years exploring those woods trying to find that place again. It just never existed.
Are you familiar with the fairy tale of Hansel and Gretel? Because I think you found the
I
old
was
woman in
just
the woods.
about to say.
I mean, probably. I mean, I was wanting to go down and explore the house and see who was home.
Go down and knock on
You should
Baba
call him
Yaga's
later and
door.
thank him for saving your
Yes,
life.
because you
Yeah,
would have been cooked and eaten.
Probably, yeah. But yeah, that was one of the creepiest / cool things that I've seen. I also had a experience in a train tunnel, an old abandoned train tunnel down sort of rest on the edge of Fernwood State Forest. My buddy used to live right there off of Bantam Ridge, and it was cuffs the pine part of it. And we went down in the woods a little ways and made a fort because he was paintballing, and he was like, "Hey, you want to go see abandoned train tunnel?" Well, I was a kid and dumb, so I said, "Yeah, sure, let's go." So we went in, and I guess a lot of people drowned in it, and because the only way to walk was on the edges, and it would feel like something would grab you and pull you into the water.
Yeah, don't like that.
So
Don't like the water.
Water grabbers.
I made it about halfway through the tunnel before I felt something keep brushing up against my leg, so I turned around and went back the other way. But
I'm sure we're just all the rats.
we didn't have flashlights, so I really couldn't debunk that one. And it could have just been vines or branches, but it's still a pretty creepy
Nope,
story.
It was something. Yeah.
I think a lot of people underestimate how creepy it is to get touched by something in the dark like that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, yeah. We're all really spoiled with our modern lighting. I mean, we chase away the dark all the time, but if you go out far enough or into a place like that and just be quiet and still in the dark, there is no feeling on earth quite like that.
No, it
Scary.
is- It's spooky.
It's a good feeling. There's almost something meditative about it until something reaches out and grabs you and you're like, oh!
Yeah. I jumped out of my skin, got out of there as quick as I could.
Yeah, I don't think I'd visit that.
You want to go
place.
find it?
No.
Come
No
on.
interest.
We can
Nature
do like
walk.
a- we can do
I mean,
like a group trip.
I could probably get you there if I remember how to get there.
Not for me.
You want to go
Shock.
find that cabin?
Shotgun shells loaded up with salt.
I'd look for that. That would be fun.
See, in Russian folk tales,
But
cabin
that's a
would have,
cool thing.
chicken
Like
feet.
you find something that never exists and it's gone. That's a like time slip, all that dimensional stuff. I dig at. Yeah. Right on. All right. Anything else, Ty?
I mean, we share one.
We do.
Me and you share one.
You want to? You can go ahead and
I've
talk
heard
about
this
it.
story.
I-
This is a
I-
good
I'll
one.
help you out.
Either way, we was. I don't remember. I think I was probably about 14, 15. somewhere
5
around
sounds
there.
right.
Yeah, probably.
Somewhere between 5 and 9.
Either way, I was young, and you was driving me home, but we had to make a pit stop into Pittsburgh for something.
Out of the way a little bit.
A little.
Well, he was hanging out with me. We were doing martial arts, and his parents weren't home, so I didn't want to drop him off and leave him there by himself. So like, dude, I got to run up to Pittsburgh get my knife engraved. So we just jumped in the Jeep, and he was riding with me.
Yeah, and as we was driving down the highway, we saw these. There was there was 6 lights, but there was 2 triangle type things over top of each other, and they was just floating. There.
They literally were not moving, and we were moving. Like they weren't even moving along with us.
No,
Now I'm watching the road. It's dark, and I'm saying, Tyler, can you see those things? And he's looking at me. He said, "Are they moving?" It's like, no. And we're driving along, and this is a stretch of 22 up by the airport, or you know where the exit for the airport. You know what I'm talking about. And it's fairly straight and flat through there. And this has gone on for what, 20 minutes?
yeah, 20
And
minutes.
we never could figure out what they were. And again, don't
No.
know what it was.
'Cause
We
they just
can't
disappeared.
explain what it was. Because I'm driving and he's staring at him. And I'm looking over every chance I get. It's like, they're still there. They're still, and they're like not going anywhere. And I'm thinking, dude, that can't be a helicopter. Because he's hovering for 20 minutes and all of them, there's 3 or 4, 5, 6 of them, and they're all hovering at the same place. No way. You know, and then when we came back that way, coming home, they weren't there. So that was something, and then it wasn't something. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Quick, Scott, do your alien tone.
Wait, why didn't you get out of the Jeep, wave, and go?
Well, you know,
Wah, wah.
you don't think of that
Take
stuff.
Wow.
me with you. I have my towel.
How many years ago was that? 20?
All right, for those of you
Yeah.
too young to know, that's from a movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I don't know.
But-
Close
No.
Encounters.
It was what? It had to be 15 years ago.
Yeah, just
So, yeah,
about,
I'm
yeah.
on.
Which
Which tells you that
piece of
Scott is
trivia,
old.
Guess what was the first vehicle shown in Close Encounters of the Third Kind? That's right, a Land Rover.
Wow, so quick off the Toyota train.
I know, it's crazy.
It's like that year that Ethan decided he was a Packers
I
fan,
know.
and then the next year he wasn't.
He had a sweatshirt.
I will
I don't
never
think he
forget
even.
that.
I don't think he
no.
even made it through
I
the
know.
whole
I
season.
Have a
Sweatshirt.
sweatshirt.
You
will
did
never
too.
live that
That's
down.
it. Scott's
had
the
it
ghost
for
of
a
a Packer fan.
You either had a sweatshirt or a T-shirt. You
Doesn't
did.
he have a sweater?
Oh, he had a
Christmas
sweater and a T-shirt and a bumper
Oh,
thing.
Oh yeah,
Not the
You
thing.
did.
You had
You
the
did.
sticker. Oh
'Cause
yeah,
I
you
was-
did.
Oh yeah, you did. You were such.
You were
a,
trying to cheese-head it up,
He jumped the train
Right.
so
Oh, I know.
fast. Yeah.
which was great for Sam because
I think
Sam
I
has
had
been,
someone to
always
talk
been a
to,
Packers
finally.
fan.
I think that phase lasted almost as long as his motor adventure days.
Oh,
What?
Your motorcycle adventure days.
I had a couple of good trips on that motorcycle. That was
He
fun.
was probably wearing that Packer sweater.
And somebody from Pittsburgh tried to run me over.
Well, that's Ty's other story. That brings us to Scott. Scott got something.
Okay, I did remember one while we were talking, so I got 2 short stories. The first one, here's the lead into the first one. And older folks from Pittsburgh will remember the Chili Billy show
Oh yeah.
late Saturday nights.
my
It was,
uncle
on,
met
was it
him.
Channel 53?
I thought
Do you
it was
remember?
11 WPX.
Oh, it might have been. Okay.
This
you're-
was a while ago.
Chili Billy.
So every Saturday night, my aunt Christina loved scary movies and all that kind of stuff. So she introduced me to Chili Billy and all the characters. And so I'd curl up behind her on the couch. I was a little guy. And we'd watch Creature from the Black Lagoon,
Love that movie.
Frankenstein, all the Wolfman, all the classics, black and white, good stuff. And at some point, we tried to, when you have the cards with the three wavy lines, this one has a star, this one has an arrow, and you look at it and try and concentrate and see if the other person can guess what the card. You ever hear? I can't remember what that's called.
He's talking about telepathy cards, but I forget. There's an actual name for them, and I forget it off the top of my head.
Well, we tried that one day in the kitchen, and I'm thinking, this is impossible. There's no way that can happen. Well,
for those of you that want to see those, watch the original Ghostbusters movie, and right at the beginning,
exactly.
yeah, it's a funny scene too.
Yes.
But anyway, go on.
Well, we got more than I thought we would, which was a little strange to me. So anyway, fast forward a little bit more, and she tells me the story of when she had an apartment in Oakland. She worked at McGee Women's Hospital, so lived close by, by herself. And she's up on the second floor apartment. And the few times that I was over there with Mom and Dad, I don't know if it always seemed like it was at nighttime. Something was it always creeped me out a little bit going over there to visit Aunt Cece. That's what we called her. And I think part of it was that she had this, must have been from the 70s, this metal zodiac sign thing hanging on the wall. That creeped me out a little bit. The place seemed like it was always dark. Of course, she didn't see real well, so maybe she was just used to it being dark. I don't know. But anyway, she says to me one night, she got done doing what she's doing or watching TV or whatever. And this is back when TVs would just shut off for the night and made you go to bed.
Big bullseye'd come on.
Yeah.
The Indian
She walked over to the bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and put her legs up, and she's laying on the bed on her side facing the wall, and she's just gotten in there, not asleep just yet. So she hears footsteps or a little creaking of the floor, like somebody is walking into the bedroom. And so she didn't move. And then she says, I felt like somebody sat down on the other side of the bed. Then you felt someone,
I would have been out of that bed in a heartbeat.
lay down on the bed. And still she's not moving.
You ever see lightning? That would have been like a slow, steady response.
At some point, she said she rolled over, and she said, I could see, I couldn't see a ghost, I couldn't see an apparition or anything, but I could see an indentation in the bed as if somebody was laying there.
Wow.
So she got up and slowly walked out of the room.
Slowly.
Man.
And slept
She's
on
got
the couch.
some
Oh, yeah.
I would have left
Aunt
water
Cece's
droplets on the
Cece
floor.
is hardcore.
Yeah, she was tough. So that was her big ghost story that freaked me out.
Then she burnt the house down and moved.
I mean, how freaky would it be to see the indention?
No thanks.
Because it's like,
Yeah.
I get, you see
Oh, sure.
a ghostly figure or something, but just to see the indention and nothing else, then it's like,
Yeah, I can only imagine.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
I mean, the
yeah,
hair's
no.
raising now. That's kind of creepy.
And then fast forward a bunch of years, my dad, who he was very interested in the Civil War in Gettysburg, of course, is sort of in our back door here. And he had always told me that he felt a kindred spirit with the soldiers that were in the war. And I just went, oh, okay. And Dad had a zillion Civil War books, and that was his thing at night. He'd read the Civil War books. And we had a couple vacations out there. Went to Gettysburg, took some touristy, tours and whatnot. And as far as I remember at the time, there were no ghost tours or anything like there is today, or even a bunch of years ago. And he had told my mother at some point, when he passes, he wants to be cremated, and he wanted some of his ashes spread in Gettysburg because he really felt like he was there or something. There was a draw to Gettysburg for him. So when he passed in 03, I believe, we had him cremated, and we buried some of his ashes in Oakmont where the family plots were. But I had the guy separate the ashes, and I had taken some of them with me. Me and a buddy went out to Gettysburg because I wanted to do this for him. So I looked up some things beforehand, and I found out that the Sachs-covered bridge in Gettysburg is supposedly quite haunted. And we went and had our own little drive around the battlefields and whatnot, have our own little tour. And I would go walk out in the field and sprinkle some of his ashes. And nothing happened. Nothing weird. It was, sad for me, but I was trying to fulfill something he wanted done. So later, after it got dark, I said to Jeff, let's go to the Sachs-covered bridge at night and see what happened. So we get there about dusk. And this was pre-iPhone for me, of course, so 3-ish. So I did have a digital camera, which I took with me. And like I said, it was dusk. And the history of the bridge, a little bit, as far as I can recall, correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you know anything about this covered bridge? Okay. Across the road or across the field was an impromptu field army hospital for, I can't remember, Confederates or Union.
I think it changed hands.
Okay. Anyways, lots of people died in that field from trying to get help, because it was a field hospital set up. And for some reason gravitated toward this bridge. So I get out the digital camera and I start snapping pictures. There's nothing really to see, but later in the pictures, we go back to the hotel and look around at the pictures. You can see the orbs. I honestly don't know if they were dust particles. It was not windy, wasn't raining, wasn't dusty. You could definitely see orbs in these photos. So that was a little something. And through the whole weekend that we stayed there, we did go on a couple ghost walk tours. And none of them bothered me except the one field, and I don't know exactly where it was now, but as the lady is telling us about what happened in this field, this battle, same kind of thing there, Mike. Getting a little cold breeze up my neck, and the hairs on the back of my neck are standing up a little bit. And the tour is over, and the crowd, the main part of the crowd there, had walked away, and I said to Jeff, I want to walk over there a little further and take some pictures. Oh, okay. And I walk over into this field, and I start snapping pictures with the digital camera. And it got colder, got creepier. I did not see anything. Just a sense of, I think I need to go back to the car. There were orbs in these photos as well. Didn't see anything with the naked eye, but I definitely did on the camera. So that happened in Gettysburg. That was a good one. And Aunt Cece's story always creeped me out with the dent in the bed.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
so hold on.
I know,
hold on.
I'm
We
gonna
got to take a
ask,
pause for a question or for a statement here. You may or may not have heard a slight rattling sound in the background. That was not for effect.
I did.
The ladies in the office, or our coworkers, depending on, we haven't been able to see who it is yet, decided it was going to be a good idea to rattle the doorknob on us.
I do believe
while
it's
we're
my
recording
dearest
this.
auntie.
There you go.
She likes to listen. Yeah.
There you go. That's
I
why
have
we
a
all
question.
giggled, because we're looking over and you can't see anybody.
You can't see anything, but you can hear. They're having fun. Anyway, do you still have the pictures?
On a digital camera somewhere.
Probably.
Well, you should send them to someone and have them.
I haven't looked at them in so many, 03, since 03-ish.
All right, you should dig those things
I don't
out.
know if I think I have a camera over at Mom's house.
See, that would be cool, wouldn't it?
I'll
I'd
have
like
to
see
look.
'em.
Next time I go over, I'll try and find it.
Tyler, you forgot about that picture on your
I did forget about.
alarm system or whatever.
I did forget about the picture I had.
Remember,
on
he
my,
brought that in. There was a ghost or an apparition.
Oh yeah, that freaked me out.
full
weird.
body apparition. Yeah.
Yeah, we looked at it and was like, well, I can't say that's
Well, now you
not
got to tell
something.
the story because people who are listening don't know
Well,
the whole
all right,
story.
All right, I'll tell the story. So I was sleeping downstairs, and I had TV on, lights off, and all of a sudden I mean, I was asleep, but I seen in the camera that the door flung open. So dog was sleeping outside, so I decided I was going to go and check the cameras, see what really happened. And there was a full body, looked like a woman, sitting there standing on my back porch. And well, we looked around. There was nothing on that porch that could have caused that to be seen in the camera. And I mean, there was nothing there. Physically, nobody could stand there because of where the kiddie pool was.
Yeah.
So it was actually pretty cool to have a
Yeah, he brought it in. We looked at it. It was interesting.
It's freaky.
Yeah, it's interesting. Very cool.
So
All right, well, go ahead.
there's no way we can link to a picture or something from our.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, people. We just have to go
Yeah,
with our word.
And you got to find that camera because that would be cool. I want to see these Orby things.
Email Scott directly, and he'll send you the picture.
If he can find them. So I do have a few stories, and probably why I have a few because I'm older than all you guys. That's the only thing I can figure.
Really? You'd have never
Sam,
fooled
you'll
me.
get some.
One day.
Just
When you're not 5.
Just one day. So I have a couple, and they're one that is interesting. I'm trying to think.
Are you going to tell the one about the farm?
Yeah, that's what we're going to tell the one about the farm.
Okay.
Now, this again, there were 2 other people there, so this is not just something I dreamed or saw. All right, so we are at our property in West Virginia, and the old cabin, which was a cabin, an old rickety shack. I mean, you know, there was holes in the walls and you could see through it. So my parents and I are there, and this is around hunting season. I wish I could remember what year. Mom would probably know.
Oh, I was going to say, how old were you?
Oh, I was grown.
Ballpark it.
20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Okay.
So I was.
Was this
30.
before the trailer?
No,
Well,
this
it's before the cabin that's there now, and the
Yes.
cabin's 20 years old. So there you have it. It was pre that.
But this
So-
was, but that wasn't the pout house.
Correct.
Okay.
No, this is the old house
Right.
trailer setup. So we're there, hunting season, just getting settled in for the night. We all go to bed. I don't remember what time it was. I know it was after midnight is all I can remember. And all of a sudden, this giant rumble, and the best I can tell you is it sounded like a train. Now, we're out in where our property is, where our farm is out in the woods. So it's not on main road. You never hear trains. You don't have trucks and all that stuff. So it was very rumbly. And I feel like I remember shaking, you know, from the rumble. And I wake up, and apparently my mom and dad woke up at the same time, and we all saw the interior of the cabin was illuminated. Light was coming through cracks in the wood and through the windows, and it was like spotlights. And I don't know, like, it was just the weirdest thing. It was super bright. And my mom yells at me. She goes, "Tommy, go let your Uncle Jake in." Because we were expecting my uncle to come down and hunt with us. So I got up out of bed. You know, you're half asleep. Like I was in REM sleep. I was in deep. We were all in deep. So I go into the kitchen area, open the door, nothing. Not a sound, not a light. It was absolutely pitch black. It was like, wow. Now, it took me less than 3 seconds to get from the bed to the kitchen door. Okay? Now, both my parents are awake, and I come walking back in the room with an odd look on my face because I looked out that door, and at the point there was nothing at all and no sound. I almost got a little bit freaked, you know, because it was loud. This was loud, and it was bright. So I walk back in. I go, "Ma, there's nobody out there." She's like, "What?" Like, "I'm telling you, there's nothing out there. Nowhere." And her and my dad are like, "No, now you have to." The whole place was lit up. Like, nothing. It's quiet and it's dark. So we just talked amongst ourselves for a bit.
The rest of the night till the sun came up.
Yeah,
I would've-
Turned off the light and I went back to bed, and my uncle came down the next morning. It was just it was But it was so weird. You know, you're dead asleep, this rumbling, loud train noise, super bright light, and I can see my mom's silhouette setting up in the bed, look like, because I'm on the other side of her and Dad, in a different bed, and I'm looking across, and it was just that bright. I could see my mom sitting up in bed and go, "Hey, Tommy, go let your Uncle Jake in." And I, not thinking any of it. We were expecting him. It wasn't odd to me. Went over there to do that, and then it was only afterwards, it's like, well, why? He wouldn't have had something that loud with all that light and all this other stuff.
Now, in the history of the farm, was there like a coal mine there or anything? Railroad?
Nothing that I know of.
Nothing.
Yeah, that was one.
Did the lights and the noise go away as soon as you opened the door?
Yes, it was like instantaneous. It was bright all the way through the kitchen. I opened the door, and it was like you just shutting the switch off. In a
So
sense.
you were walking toward the light and noise.
Yes.
Until you
And
opened the door.
Opened the
and then
door,
nothing.
and it was almost like, boom, nothing. I know it was almost like opened or shut the dimensional switch or something.
Did you
when I
have
opened the
extra underwear with you?
Dude, I know.
I'd
Even
have peed
today,
down
when
into
we
my
talk
sock.
about it, we still
Yeah, that's
all
pretty
are
good.
like,
There's
it's
a
like,
pucker factor.
hand on the Bible stuff is like,
Sure, I
no,
believe
this
you.
is what happened to us guys, that the three of
Wow.
us. It was a kind of freaky thing.
Hmm.
So that was one
And-
of the stories.
Okay, and the cabin, well, I'm sorry to interrupt. And the cabin
Okay.
that's there now, is it in the same location?
It's
Right behind
right
it.
behind. We built it right behind the other one, and then
Okay.
took that one down.
Okay, so where that porch you built now,
Is where the
That's-
trailer would have been.
Yes,
okay.
correct. So it would have been.
So
in
we have a
John's
haunted porch now?
We do.
Trying
We
to get
should,
visual.
so we should have a porch night.
Oh, yeah.
one night
Well,
and see
yeah.
what
that,
happens.
that brings up you, Grandma and Granddad, and my mother, and I had Oscar with me down at the farm that weekend.
Who's
And-
Oscar?
And my brother's dog. I had the dog
Oh.
for the weekend.
Right.
And the dog started barking and freaking out. 'Cause we didn't have a front porch on the cabin, so we left the big door open, and the screen door was just shut. And he started freaking out, barking at the door. I got up and I didn't see anything. The next morning, Grandma told us that she saw somebody walk by that front door right before Oscar started barking.
Now, to
No
understand,
porch. It's 6 feet up
it's
off
6
the ground.
feet up off the
Uh-oh.
ground. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? How the
Oh, yeah.
cabin's up. So
Yeah.
to
Oh, wait,
see
did
that,
you mean at the new?
yes.
Like
Oh,
at the
okay.
level of the door.
So
Okay.
at the
Oh, I
level
understand.
of that
Yep.
door,
Oh, I
someone
got it
walked
now.
across there.
See, I did have something. Look at that. Just took an hour.
There. Yeah, he had to remember what it was. So that's
Wow.
that's kind of cool.
There's two things at the farm. I'm
You
gonna
don't
quit going
think
down
you-
there.
Could have maybe told us that before we camped out there?
No.
What
that's-
for?
no.
Well, Lord, now I'm thinking I was just there by myself a couple weeks ago.
And you're going again hunting soon.
You got to not think of that stuff when you're down there.
Yeah.
But
Well, not too late now.
yeah.
Hey, Scott, you want to go?
Yeah, no.
But I have a couple others. One involves our house, and my wife can corroborate this one. When we bought our house in Virginia, this was a number of years ago, and we got in there and we're having our parents help us move and everything, and we get done kind of moving and we get set down in the family room, and the people that had owned it before us had died. They were older and they had died, and that's about all we knew. And my dad's sitting on the couch. I remember that. I'm sitting over on a chair, and he goes, "So you're not afraid this place is haunted or anything?" And I go, "No, why would that be?" And I'm not kidding you. The blind on the window behind him, it was one of them pull rolly blinds, went whoosh and flipped around itself. No kidding. He goes, "Uh-huh. What do you think of that?" And it was like, "Oh, come on, Dad." And he swore he didn't do anything about it. I was like, "Okay." So anyway, we get done. We're getting unpacked, and we go to bed. Well, for some reason, in the middle of the night, Elaine's sister, Anita, was staying with us. She heard someone walking down the hallway in the middle of the night. Got up, no one's there. I'm like, oh, that's a little bit weird. Next morning, I get up, and I didn't think anything of this, and I had put my toothbrush out the night before. Well, the next morning, my toothbrush was back in my suitcase. And I'm like,
Oh boy.
Well, and then, naturally I tell this and Anita tells her, and the thing with Dad. This is the first day we moved into the house. We're like,
I've heard podcasts like
and
this.
then my dad, again, poking the bear, he's like, I don't think they want you here. They put they repacked your stuff. You better get.
Oh man.
But that was a little bit of again, unexplained. I can't give you anything but that. But it was.
I think we need to have your dad on the show one
This
time.
was the Virginia house.
That'd be
It's
pretty
fine.
hilarious, yeah.
Yeah, I'll never do
But that was a thing. So another Virginia story. When we used to live in there, and I was in construction, Chuck was a buddy of mine, and he worked for my company and my father. So we were on our way to work. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. Don't really remember what. It was on Route 234 from Woodbridge going out towards Manassas. And Chuck and I are just talking, having our coffee, and driving down my old Dodge truck. And we're looking out, and all of a sudden, over the treetops, I don't know, quarter of a mile ahead of us, maybe, a cigar-shaped object of some sort. It was quite large. I'll just say football, because more like a football than a cigar, maybe. And it was lit from the inside. It did not have lights on it. It was lit and almost like a light bulb from within. It was, that's the best way I can explain it. It was not the color of a light bulb. It was a dull yellow tone, is all I can remember. And Chuck's like, what in the heck is that? And I go, I don't know. So you start, my foot's coming off the gas now, right? Naturally, you're kind of slowing down. I was like, we're on this road. I don't think there's any other cars with us, and it's out there. It's not, I don't think it's looking at us or anything. It's just whatever it is out there, and it's going across the road, not towards us, just across it, like across our path, like a deer would. And we're like, oh, that is so freaky. And then it's gone. And we're like, oh man, that's weird. No one's going to believe us, So we don't say anything. We just go on, talk about it a little bit, drink our coffee, get to work, start trimming houses. So we're all doing our thing, and we're sitting on the back of the truck at lunchtime, and we're just eating our sandwich and just chatting, me, him, and Dad, and we're just having our lunch. And all of a sudden my dad goes, did you guys see anything weird in the sky this morning? Chuck jumped down off of that tailgate and he goes, I knew it. It was an alien spacecraft. I knew it. And we're like, it was a little freaky because my dad was on a completely different highway. He was coming from Dale City. I lived in Fredericksburg. He's going out, I can't remember the road, 123 or whatever it was, and we're on 234. These are miles apart. And him to say, there was this weird football-shaped thing in the sky this morning. Chuck freaked out. He was like, I knew it. I saw an alien spacecraft. That is so cool. So,
that was the last we saw, Chuck.
that was one of those things. So that was an interesting thing. And again, I don't know how to explain any of them. If I had to pick one of the things, like the Tyler thing, the Chuck thing, or the farm freaked me out. I thought about that for a long time after that, trying to come up with any explanation for that to happen.
One. It was a ghost train.
I don't know. I don't know. But honestly,
the freaking ghost train.
Scott is looking a little bit like his eyes are a little bit.
Maybe you were part of the Underground Railroad.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, seriously, because back then, again, like you said, we didn't have internet, we didn't have podcasts, we didn't know none of this stuff. So
you knew that.
Your experience to ghost stories and stuff like that were just folklore, or a buddy tell you a story you might read in a book or something like that.
And it wasn't commonplace. Like you didn't have shows that talked about it or anything like that.
Now, after all these years of listening to conspiracy stuff and ghost and just having fun with that stuff, I then have recently looked back on that incident and go, that was a dimension thing. I really think that it could have been a dimension thing, because when I opened the door, it shut. It like put everything back. Like we were stuck between time.
I can see it in my head.
But when I opened the door,
feeling dimensional
back.
travel or like alternate timelines?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it that much. I just think when I opened the door, jarred things back in place. to normality.
Because if it were an alternate timeline, the moment you open the door, you reset your timeline.
We're going to have a whole discussion episode about this. I see it coming. It's going to be great.
No, but I can see where you're going with that because, and I can't explain that thing. The flying things, you're kind of like, it could have been this, it could have been that, and yeah, it could have. I don't know.
Was there not a scene in Close Encounters of the Third Kind where the little boy and the single mom
Opens the door.
all of all his toys start up, and the monkeys clapping in the train and the cop car, and there's light all coming through the windows and door, and he walks out the door. You're lucky you didn't get abducted, buddy.
How do you know he didn't? He doesn't know that.
Oh,
That may not be LT.
Oh, it is. Trust me.
It's not.
It
that
could be
might
an
not-
alien wearing
not that it
LT's
might not be
skin.
I'm still
LT, but I
blind.
mean,
I ain't coming in Monday.
Yeah. No, but it was one of
crap.
those things, man. It was. I don't know. I can't explain it.
sure.
I probably never will
Scott,
be
look at
able
it this
to.
way. As long as you've known LT, he's been inhabited by an alien.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so you wouldn't know any different. It'd
Oh,
be all right.
well, it's been a while. See, I've never heard any of them stories. I've known you nigh on 12 years.
Hey, Scott, you want to go down Hoopy this weekend?
Yeah, no.
That's what I mean.
don't be
I'll be at
Sometimes,
the goat farm, thanks.
sometimes you don't think any much of it. It's like the thing that me, Dad, and Chuck.
Oh,
It was
man.
we really didn't talk about it. There wasn't any need to because we just when you like if I could say, dude, that was an alien spacecraft. That's
What
different.
else was it?
I don't know.
It was an alien.
I can just tell you I don't know what it was.
He lived near a
So
military
many
base.
stars.
However,
I know.
that situation,
Chicken shit Scott is
my
funny.
father and Chuck and myself
Hey,
all corroborate. Here, the cool part about that story is
He better never go to a UFO
We weren't in the
conference.
same
He'll
place.
pee.
that
yeah,
makes it even
well,
cooler.
So it was real.
You know, it's like, oh, this thing.
It wasn't
and,
a
and
cloud.
here's the funny thing, because I know the direction that we were traveling in, it would, and I told you it crossed our road.
Yes.
It would have crossed the road he was on had it been you know what I'm saying? It absolutely would
So,
have crossed his
You
road.
guys are coming this way, maybe, and just for example, it crossed right to left for you, but maybe left to right.
Oh
for
no,
him.
no, we were both going the same
Oh,
direction
okay.
on two different.
Oh,
he
okay.
lived here, I lived
Understood.
here. He
So
goes
you were
this
both
way, I go that
traveling north, and it would have
Per
crossed
se,
east
yes.
to west for both
Okay,
of you.
way.
okay.
Yeah, something
All
like
right.
that. So
Wow.
that's what makes that. You know, when we sit back
All
and
right.
think about it, it's like, listen, Chuck and I were together, but you were miles from us,
Yeah.
and a different road, and you brought it up to us at lunch. That was the.
Well, it was real.
That's what I'm saying. That was just because if you got to sit, my dad's sitting there, and he's just sitting there, and he's going, "Hey, did you guys see something? You know, just like kind of off the cuff."
And I'm gonna.
Chuck freaked, man. It was so cool.
Now,
I'm gonna say
okay.
there's no way Chuck's cell phone called your dad, right?
No,
And
because we
went,
didn't
"Hey,
have
let's
cell
mess
phones
with
back
the
then,
bots."
buddy.
Exactly right. Okay.
This
Now-
is the greatest side of Scott.
This
I've
is
never
real.
seen
Okay,
this
if
before,
the
and I'm
audience
loving
would
it.
Oh,
like
this is serious.
would like to ever get a glimpse at how Scott is being right now,
Yeah, you need to start running video in here, Mikey.
go get a book called Missing 411 and read it right before you go to bed.
Yeah.
That's how he looks right now.
Well,
That's
it
cool
happened.
stuff.
You
Yeah,
have
that's-
seen
oh,
an
it's some
alien
stuff.
freaking spaceship.
or something
Right?
just really cool at night. I don't know yet.
He's sitting there all
If-
scrunched up with
If
his
you
eyes
could-
all bugged out.
you know what? It might have been a cloud.
Can
and
someone
it was,
get the tinfoil off of Scott's
it
desk
was
so he can make a new hat?
helicopter, and it looked illuminated from the inside. It was really a helicopter in a cloud. Not when your dad saw it too.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we're like, okay, this has got to be
He's
something.
bad.
It's
Okay.
just weird.
Eyes are bugging. He's.
Let me
oh,
tell you a
man.
wee little quickie story. I do like all the scary stuff. Not when it happens to me, but I like to see it and read about it. One night, the same guy was with me in Gettysburg, Jeff, and I'm like, let's go to the movies. Yeah, okay, let's go to the movies. We went to see the Blair Witch Project way
Man.
back when. And I didn't know anything about this movie. Zip. And we go in and see this movie.
Oops.
And,
I've never seen
And
it.
he
I'm
pooped.
scared.
well, it's this low budget
I
film
know.
with.
I
You
heard
know
about
about
it.
it?
I know
Okay.
about
It's
it, but I don't
dumb.
think I want to
Okay.
watch it.
Did
I
you ever
think-
watch Paranormal Activity?
I think he knew,
Oh,
like,
geez.
saw a preview. I saw Zip. I didn't know anything about this movie. And I'm sitting there eating popcorn, Coca-Cola, do. And I'm trying not to swear real hard here, but stuff, you know, I'm thinking this is real. And I sort of made myself think that, now, I know we're at the movies. I know it's not a
It's a
real
mockumentary.
documentary.
Yeah, sure.
But I let myself just get lost in it. And I was freaked out. So freaked out. We go. He drops me off at the house. He drove. Mike, you've been to Mom's house. You know you can park a car up on the landing.
Yes.
You walk down 6 steps, cross the driveway. There's the kitchen door. Mm-hmm. I don't know that I touched the ground. When the door on the Omni opened, I went fishing, and immediately I'm in the kitchen. Slept that night with both dogs on my bed for early warning protection. I was freaked out. I enjoyed it, but I almost crapped myself in the theaters.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that movie.
I think we should watch it at the farm.
It's better than
As
Machete.
long as you know that it's not real from the get-go, it's fine because you can look at it for what it is, which is a really low-budget movie about being scared.
And it did have a really interesting impact on that kind of movie.
But I mean, it is based off of a true story and folklore, though.
True, but there's a lot of artistic license that's taken based from the true story.
If you did see a preview or you knew about it, you could at some point go, hey, why is that guy running film all of a sudden? You know what I mean? Oh, they've still got one battery.
You don't think about that.
I did not. I honestly, I let myself get lost in it. Was just being entertained and scared the crap out. Okay.
Right on.
It was fun and scary.
Well, we are just about out of time. We hope you enjoyed this as much as we did. This was a fun episode.
Please listen to it in a dark room by yourself.
Yeah.
Right before
There you
bed.
go. And no emails asking questions because I've pretty much told you everything I know, and I'm sure these guys have nothing to add. But you can, if you want another show suggestion, send Mikey an email. You know, we're up for that. We got to.
Oh, we do
figure
have
out
lots
what
of
we're gonna
podcasts. That you mean another podcast that we like that listen to?
Oh, no.
A
For us
suggestion
to
for
do.
us to discuss.
Okay.
But why don't you tell them a couple that you listen to before we get out of here?
The Richard Serrett stuff is really
Yep.
good. Just get
Me
on
too.
your podcast and look up Richard Serrett. But another one I've been listening to lately is Strange Things on Coast to Coast with Joshua P. Warren. That's an excellent show.
Coast to Coast.
Euphomet
Coast to Coast AM.
is another good one, and you'll tell it's the right one. It's got a dark background. There's a butterfly on it. That's a really good one with, I can't remember the man's name at the moment, but Euphomet, look up that. Conspiracy Unlimited, that's Richard Serrett's other podcast. Astonishing Legends is really good. The Confessionals with Tony Merkel is good.
Oh, that one Tony Merkel show that we
Episode
listened
122, I think.
to. Okay, guys, this is
Oh,
worth a
it's-
listen.
oh, it's
My wife,
fantastic.
we were driving down to the farm. She would not let me shut the car off because she had to listen to the ending of this. That is
It's a good one.
freaky episode. I won't tell you anything about it. It's a time slip thing that will
Yes.
blow your mind.
With a former military
Oh yeah.
dude.
This
Say
is
that.
one of the coolest. That's one of the coolest podcasts I ever listened to.
Oh, it's
that
the
one.
bomb.
That one.
Oh, yeah.
I-
And wait,
Oh, go ahead.
Sasquatch Chronicles.
Yeah, none of us had a good Bigfoot story today. That
I
was
had
kind
no-
of funny.
No,
See,
sorry.
I actually do have a Bigfoot story,
As do I.
but I
Well,
thought
we're gonna have to have a Bigfoot.
Sounds like we're doing
Because we're
Bigfoot
out
next
of
time.
time.
So tune in for
See, you
Bigfoot.
should have thought of that
Sasquatch.
earlier.
well, I thought we was just doing like ghost alien stories.
Everybody knows Bigfoot's real.
Bigfoot's an
Bigfoot's
alien.
an
Duh.
alien, man.
He's right.
All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in, and we will see you next time right here on The Shack. God bless you.
See ya.